feel like it's getting even more and more exciting. We're working on the ground with like the real teams, like either the CEOs or the marketing team, who are actually building the products right now, giving them
Yeah, I
these.
think the collaborative aspect of it, it feels like we're actually part of the process of getting these companies, like especially Deep Sleep, this new startup, getting them off the ground and then seeing it all come to life. I think is just amazing. I think the Deep Sleep and the HKA stuff, there was some good conversations in there. I don't know what it was about the HKA stuff, but somehow I think I just had I think that was probably the most cohesively thought out thing that I've done, because I kind of had an idea straight off the bat for HKA. And it's like retrospect, you can like look back on it and think about the processes and what actually means like now, like looking back.
How do you get the look that is just... Do you see that full screen?
Yeah.
How do you get and what do you call it? It's like an energy. It's got like motion blur as well. It's not just shapes moving on the screen. You've created some kind of life to it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure exactly of the correct terminology, but it's like kinetic motion, like it's sort of dynamic. So the motion blur, I just thought with the actual arrows to give them a bit of life. Obviously, they're small elements. So if they come in with the motion blur and then obviously the orange goes out, I think that looked a lot better. It looked a lot smoother, and the arrow sort of the shape of the arrow itself as well works well with like motion blur, for example. Just it looks like it's punching a hole through until obviously it gets to the middle and then the logo comes up. So that was the sort of process behind that, I guess, is making these little arrows that they use as their logo just sort of come to life a little bit.
And as a motion designer, when you get the results of a shoot that we do, a corporate video shoot like this, and then you get your hands on the footage and it's an interview between two leaders or something like that, an interview between two people, what do you feel like? You're going to add some life, or you're going to give it something new, some energy to it? I don't know, because it feels a more modern approach to corporate video production. That's my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, when you've got when I'm editing, it's the people that they have, I wouldn't say are the main focus, but the people that they have on these videos reflects the brand itself, the company behind the videos. Like these people, they're having discussions with this company for a reason, and they're like very prominent individuals. So I think bringing a sort of professional sort of distinctness to a brand's look, if they want to stand out from the crowd, that's really what I made, like the process behind it. And yeah, especially with interviews with, I think one of the videos we had that they sent over as an example that we shot was one with the Airbus executive.
I don't have the final. Oh, I do have the final frame actually in this. Let's see. No, we didn't, did we?
Oh, if you go to my drive, I think the one that was in there was. Hang on, I did a test of the lower thirds using the original.
Yeah, let's have a look at that, because I think that's really important to show the motion design going on top of the final video. Brilliant. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for.
And you can see there the glow that appears works well when it's over video. It just doesn't seem to work very well on a MOV transparent file.
That's incredible. Yeah, I love it. Talk me through this then. So just talk about the actual practicality of getting their names on the screen or something like that, and also doing it in the brand style. And I'll pull up the...
Well, I mean, for a lower third, it's more of the same thing, really, sort of giving a bit of movement to the brand, to the animations. And I wasn't sure. Obviously, this was experimenting as well at the time, so I gave them two concepts to work with: the Council Connect logo is different from the HKA logo, but it still uses the same arrow logo mark. So trying to figure out whether to use the proper HKA logo or going towards the Council Connect specific logo. I thought I'd give them two options, again, to use in different use cases. So that one uses a singular arrow, the lower third two, and then this one uses the more Council Connect specific one. And I think giving those two options just made it more flexible for them. Again, keeping the same motion, the typography as well as the text moves in. I think it just creates a little something to the brand look.
What kind of liberties do you think we take with brands? Because I do believe that we don't just follow what they've got, but we do have to stick. There's a real balance, because when we deliver an edit, I can see that there's some liveliness to it and some energy that we've added in that is undeniable.
Yeah, I mean, the way I think about it is, if you have a brand coming to you wanting to create assets or create something specific to their company itself, they've already got the company sort of brand guidelines in place. They've already got the look of everything. They've already got the colors, the logo, everything's there. What you can do, there's two things you can do. You can use that essentially as it is. Or if you want to be a bit more creative, you can create a sort of energy that you can't get from still images, still branding. But you can do that with motion graphics, and it just brings a little bit of life into a company. And if they come to you thinking they're going to get one thing using your brand assets, and you deliver back this sort of video that actually brings their company to life, especially when it comes to sort of subtle things like lower thirds, it makes it look a lot more professional and a lot more streamlined as well. There's a lot more flow in the video. And while not every lower third needs to be like that, it doesn't need to be overly flashy. I think just adding subtle sort of eye candy, subtle effects that just bring a bit of life into the company branding, I think is always going to be appreciated because it gives a new personality, I guess.
And as a video producer, I see this stuff and it just makes me sort of smile inside because it really looks good. Like genuinely looks really, really good.
And to be honest, it's you can't understate as well the power of the time we're in now as well. There's so many references, there's inspiration from like around every corner, and it doesn't have to be specific inspiration as well. I mean, you can sort of think of ideas that you've seen ages ago. And while this didn't come from any specific idea, I think just the animation itself just came from a load of different things that I've seen before, and putting it all together is sort of like a little puzzle that you're going through in After Effects, trying to figure it out. And then when you've got the actual animation, then you're like, right, let's get onto the actual effects, the details to make this look amazing.
I know what you mean. It's almost like a time machine of references and ideas that you've collected over time and your inspiration of analog. You've got a lot of different tastes, haven't you? Visual tastes that you've been exploring and that you love. So
yeah, I mean, I think that's worthwhile, sort of delving into different types of video, because I mean, you get the more tame, sort of informative side of animation where it's more straight to the point, trying to deliver information in a way that's easily readable. And then you've also got the more artistic sort of animation. You're bringing sort of things to life, whether that's just a simple shape. You can bring a circle to life in animation.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's just a circle going through the screen with a little logo marks and shapes and the text, but it's got some life to it. It really has. It's living, breathing. Brands are living, breathing entities, and this is showing that.
Yeah, especially today as well, where I mean, I see the look you give, like portray to people, is pretty much everything nowadays. So even just subtle things that just give your brand like the extra edge. I mean, it's worthwhile, especially today.
There was one other thing I was just thinking as well at the beginning is that we should give credit to the brand. Obviously, a lot of work has been put into their branding guidelines, and that makes our job a lot easier, doesn't it? If the brand has created a strong identity.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, take this for example. I wouldn't have been able to create the sort of the personality. I wouldn't have been able to focus in on the chevrons, the animations, and the arrows, I guess, for each side of the company if it wasn't for the brand guidelines. And obviously, again, on the more technical side of things, it keeps it consistent as well. If you've got a distinct color palette to work with, you know what each color means, then you can know where you can use it in these videos. It just makes it a lot easier for us, and it gives the clients a better product in return.
We covered a lot of good stuff there, didn't we?
Yeah. I think it's, especially with HKA, I think it's easy to talk about as well, because I think it was such a small little package we gave to them. Like, we knew exactly what we were doing. We needed the transitions, the lower thirds, and an intro. And then once you know that off the bat, I mean, you can make in your head, you can experiment, and you can actually have a coherent idea across all three, which I think is what made that one actually quite a good project to work on.
The most exciting projects that we get is where a brand has a strong identity already, because it's a mutual meet in the middle. They've done a lot of work to build their brand and their identity. They've already got some momentum happening, and then we come in and put the finishing touches to that, the required creativity that they need just to bring it up to that next level.
Yeah. No, it's great to work with brands that have that, like, just straight off the bat.
Okay, yeah. So while you're at uni finishing your dissertation, I had found Deep Sleep and showed you what they were doing. And I think just in general, we were pretty excited by the technology and what they were up to.
So I'd been doing the computer science dissertation for, I mean, probably 9 months by then. So I was kind of I was eager to get back to that. It was like taunting me with a sort of technology, this new emerging technology, something new, something different, very interesting as well. And I think it pushed us, it tested us as well.
We presented I think it was a 30-second teaser for the technology and the company, what they were doing.
We got a little promotional video, a modern motion-based, something that would grab people's attention if they're scrolling down LinkedIn, for example, or on social media. There was a great little motion graphic that we made to sort of showcase to them. And then it's turned into this big, I think it was a 1.5 minute long promotional video that goes through their whole company. And I think the general movement, the kinetic energy, the calmness that we built into that, I think that's really what got them hooked onto this style. And it's like very interesting to read. They've got all these research papers as well, so it's all like done in house, this research, and it's very interesting. But obviously, it's quite a complex topic to get across. And there are quite a lot of sleep health apps that they call themselves on the market. And I think we needed something to, I guess, set them aside from that, like push them out. And I think the technology, the research side of things with this company, I think that's what we needed to tap into. And obviously the best way to do that would be to create a very visually appealing motion graphic promotional video that puts this into such easily understandable and very flowy, kinetic, sort of getting the vibe of all the aesthetic of like calmness and sleep. That's really what they're trying to push here.
I see that here.
Works really well.
Something calming about it and simple. It's got and I use the word simple carefully because obviously the animations are very elegant and kinetic energy coming through.
Yeah, I mean, there's like motion graphics and like animation and movement and things like that. it's a contemporary thing with branding and marketing nowadays. It's a very modern look this video has, but rather than being overly over the top with, I don't know, a narration or words typography, like animated typography in your face, as a lot of brands do nowadays. I think there was something quite, I don't know, sort of tranquil about their branding and
There is,
obviously
yeah.
what they're trying to do as well. And I think creating this newish, different type of motion graphic promotional videos specifically for this brand, it needed to be calm. It needed to show off this research and data and what they do in this way. And I don't think it would have worked as well any other way, in my opinion. I think this really nailed it, the calmness.
Let's talk about some of the. So I think it's a classic case of a technology company has got quite a complex product they're building, and as you said, they're doing a lot of research. But then they want to bring it to the market. They want people to start to understand the technology and why it matters to the world. And I think that's where we come in and are able to present the technology in a way that's understandable. And we had quite a few conversations with the brand, didn't we, about how we could simplify certain things and present a different level of information to potentially different audiences, because not all of their audience is going to be technical. So we did a lot of simplifying.
Yeah, it was important to talk with them to find out exactly what their target audience was initially, who they're trying to get this video to, and also the balance between technical, how much technical details are we meant to put and how much are we leaving it to expression, just trying to convey it as simply as possible, and finding that balance I think was very much needed, and it was very helpful in actually driving this video in the direction it did.
Do you know what I think is brilliant is the charts, and you've got a few things to say about charts, haven't you? I think.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's something that I did a lot actually with the documentary videos I used to make, was infographics. And I think there's something beautiful in what you can do and how you can display these things. I mean, charts, while they're static, they're just infographics, really. You see them, it tells you something about some information, but there's so many things you can do with it, especially in a promotional video sense, where you've got this flow going through the video. You can bring some character to the graph as well. I mean, you'll see it in a load of documentaries or video essays, things like that, but something as stylized as this was incredibly fun to do.
And you know what, from my perspective, there's a lot of AI tools out there. There's a lot of tools out there online now where you can, as a company, you can go. So I'm telling everyone now, you can go and create charts, animated charts, but you won't get any charts that look like this because I don't know. Well, I mean, what are you doing to give this level of character? I suppose you're taking in, you're looking at a lot of details in the way even these different data points. I don't know how you're displaying it all.
Yeah, so what I did for this one specifically was I created a composition of just the graph, and I created a starting frame and an ending frame. So these are the two frames that that it would start with and end with, and then obviously the animation would come in between. And I lowered it down. I lowered everything. It was all split up into each like individual little sections, which was quite intricate. It's quite a difficult process trying to do that and not make it look a bit jaggy and jarring. And then that composition was put in a 3D environment with the background, the lines, and then it obviously tilts down. You've got the text that comes in beneath it. Behind that, I added an adjustment layer of blur. So there's a Gaussian blur adjustment layer behind it. So when the text comes down, it gives it a bit of a depth as the text goes behind it.
Yeah, I love
To
that
make it
part.
look tangible, I guess it's
just there where it goes underneath the plane or the different.
yeah.
Free.
I think that's like I think it's called skeuomorphism. It's what Apple uses, I guess. We're trying to make sort of static digital UI elements have a bit of a real life quality to them.
I think glass is a popular new thing, isn't it? Is it the Apple?
Yeah.
What's it called? The Apple Glass, is it?
liquid glass, I
Yeah,
think,
yeah.
something like that.
DeepSeek really liked this video, and it was even featured on their blog as well. They wrote a blog article about us.
Yeah, yeah, that was really good.
I thought that was really nice. Really, 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 really nice to see the company has enjoyed working with us. And
I like the fact that we're under technology and innovation. That's quite cool.
exactly, yeah. And that's not the end of the story then. So they approached us in a month later or a few months later.
Yeah, about a month later. So they wanted to revamp their website, rather than making, say, a long technical explainer video, people can come to their website and learn about their technology. So a bit more of the technical side of behind what they're doing. And they wanted us to make web animations. So web animations that could be implemented onto their website to explain the certain intricacies and technologies they're using. And there was 3 different animations they wanted us to do. And this involved like a lot of figuring out the balance of creative expression and the technical side of things. And it was just a really, really fun collaboration to actually do something new, something a lot different to the promotional video. This had a specific purpose and a place on their website. And I think it was very fun trying to work around that new use case using different technologies as well, different tools to get that across. I think it was a very fun little collaboration.
I think they really wanted to get under the hood of their technology. I think they really wanted people to understand what their technology did, and they have a technology part of their website with animations that they've already made. But I think they weren't quite doing what they needed to do.
I mean, when you're explaining something so technical, a static image like these, for example, it does a good way of supporting, say, something, just adding a little bit of visual flair to it. But it doesn't really stand alongside the text in a way that it can explain it in a better way. People can visualize it. It's a very base level, I guess you could say. But when they came along asking us for these little animations to express these different technologies, these specifics about the research behind it, you have that freedom to work around, explain things in a different way, show things in a new way that static image really couldn't show. It couldn't explain it. And we're working with waves as well, like brain waves, data like that. And static images, when you've got something so dynamic as what's going on inside someone's head when they're sleeping, for example, I think videos just did that so much more justice. And I think people reading these new technologies, this new brand, this new company who's come out with this new technology, I guess, I think it just helps. It just hits that spot differently in explaining these deep technicalities.
I was just thinking that the task was probably to improve upon these. How did we feel about that challenge of improving what's here?
I think the fun part of this project itself was actually working alongside them, trying to figure out the exact approach to take, because there was a few graphs, a few examples that we've did over the course, and I think there's a lot of variables to actually think about as well in terms of the positioning, as opposed to, say, doing a promotional video. You've got one maybe 1080p video that you're going to put on YouTube in 16:9 aspect ratio, maybe one that you're going to put mobile format. But on websites, there are a lot of different variables to actually think about. I mean, you've got to think about where the placement of where this is going to go, the different resolutions and screen sizes, how this video is actually going to appear on the website, how it's going to be played, whether it's automatic, whether it's on scroll, for example. That's something we looked into and was very interesting.
Can you tell me a little bit about your experimentation with because the client requested a few different formats, didn't we? I think they requested some WebM, some Lottie stuff, and you did a bit of experimentation because a lot of other people on are going to be looking at updating their websites and putting animations on. So it'd just be nice to hear a bit about your findings with those technologies. You can do a lot with different formats. You can have a scroll that responds. The animation can respond to the user input on the website, things like that.
Yeah, so WebM and Lottie were the two. So after we produced these animations, WebM and Lottie were the two ideas that we were discussing how we can implement this into a website better. WebM is a very good web-friendly video format. So it's compressed, but doesn't lose a lot of the quality as well, and it's suitable for implementing into websites. And Lottie is a very interesting one, actually. It's got quite a few cool use cases, one of which is the animate on scroll that you were talking about.
Yeah, that really, really caught my attention on a few websites where I saw the person scrolling down the page and then the animation adapts.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's so interesting because it's Lottie essentially exports it as a JSON file. So it's data essentially tied to images. So there's so much flexibility. While we were going through it though, we obviously did the animations. Lottie works incredibly well with a lot of animations, vector animations in particular, but the complex animations were a little trickier. We didn't want to lose too much quality, which WebM did very well. It compressed the file, made it easily upload, not take up too much space without losing that much quality. But Lottie, there was the technicalities, the intricacies of the animation were a bit lost. And I think we were pushing its use case quite far beyond what it's normally used for, which is very, like, that's something, I mean, you learn as you go. And that's a great way, just experimenting around with these things and using Lottie now, knowing its boundaries, knowing exactly what we can use it for. I think it's a very interesting new tool that's come out in recent years.
Mm.
I mean, getting to understand it better was great fun.
And I think as we go, we'll find more use cases to experiment more with it as well, because I think it's exciting technology. Like, it's exciting way of showing animations on websites. It's building because it's frame by frame, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, that's essentially it's essentially data that's tied to these separate frames.
Yeah.
So what we had to do for this animation was essentially there were so many effects going on that we had to export it as a PNG sequence. So each frame has its own image that's tied, that's then imported into another After Effects file in a timeline. That's essentially like a stop motion animation of these frames, which, I mean, it's what a video is anyway. But
Yeah.
it's
But sometimes you do have to break it down to these essential parts, don't you? To remember that you can do other things with the technology. Like, if you can extract each frame of the video, and I don't know whether it's some kind of Java technology or whatever it is, but the Lottie file will then allow you to um, adapt or play the video back with various different, in response to different user controls on the website. If you're scrolling up and down, you can have the animation respond and react to the inputs or the way that person's using the website.
yeah, exactly. I think
Right?
it gives the web developer, like in particular, a much more a much larger scope to play around with these videos. I think essentially with Lottie, it gives them a lot more creativity. I think it's some of the animations were looping. It's quite a lot of information, and some of the looped animations were about 40 seconds long per loop. They were seamlessly looped, but 40 seconds as the main chunk of it. And I think when you've got a Lottie file that's that intricate, that extensive, without losing quality, it would just, there wouldn't be that much benefit rather than using WebM. So we discussed a little bit about that and ended up using WebM specifically for these animations.
I just wanted to say, look at this. Look how amazing that looks. It reminds me of those fiber optic. I don't know if you ever had those lamps as a kid, but you'd have all of these little fiber optic. I think they're made of glass or plastic, but it'll be a fiber optic lamp where they have all of these different strands and the light flows through them. Did you ever see those?
Yeah. No,
It's got
the graph looks. I think adding the the color sort of the color play on the graph was very fun. It gave it a very dynamic, a very subtle dynamic look, I think. I mean, when I was editing this, to make it a little bit more dynamic, it's very hard to see. But each line sort of ripples ever so slightly.
Wow. They look like glass threads or something. They just look amazing. It's so incredible.
Yeah, no, it's turned out amazing.
It really has. And can I just ask a question about under the hood? Does each strand have its own, is it a real entity, or have you done some fudging of the, to make it look like there's individual strands there? Or is there a universe of strands there that actually exists?
There is actually genuinely a universe of strands there that actually exists. So
How have you done that?
each line there is one sort of pen spline in After Effects. We had a reference photo essentially to work with, and what I did is I traced a few of them, the main ones, the middle ones, the boundary ones, just to get the basic. And then from there, it was more about eyeballing it, a few, like duplicating them, making them look different, trying to line it up the best I can to the actual reference photo. But no, it was they're all each individual little splines.
I think that was actually an interesting point that you made as well about this kind of creative liberty that we could take with the presentation of this quite scientific information, quite technical technology, is that we almost were asked not to do it exactly to science because it's protected technology as well. And I think the company would like it to look great and be understandable by anyone in the technical field.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, this is very new research. It's ongoing as well. So I think trying to convey it in a more creative way helps not only potential customers in the future, but also, like you said, other people in the industry, technology executives, people who have the potential to collaborate on this technology to push it out into the market. I mean, there's so much that creative liberty can allow you to actually do in terms of guiding the content in the right direction. There's always room for more technical explanations, and there's always room for more simplistic explanations. And I think it's finding the balance of that per specific video, per the use case of it, I think is something that we really put our mind to on this.
Yeah. And I think thinking back as well, I know we had a lot of conversations with the brand about how technical we should make it and how creative we should make it, how high level. But the brand does have a lot of eyes on it, and it does have a lot of industry experts and scientists, neuroscientists looking at the brands. And so they is a constant play of accuracy versus the creativity.
And I think it does a much better job, in my opinion, to explain actual these very detailed and possibly difficult to understand for some people, these little intricacies in this technology. But
Look at that.
Whereas our one is more displaying a certain technology, a certain research in a way that is visually appealing to look at and a little bit easier to understand, I guess, than reading through documentation and research papers.
Yeah, I think when the company's starting to launch and it's starting to talk to partners and actually securing new relationships, it needs this serious kind of animation for people to understand what it is and for people to take it seriously. Because if you just see, the job now is obviously to integrate this into the website, but you can just see this next to that. It's a really cutting edge. It's new frontier kind of animation. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I think one thing that we set out from the very start for these animations was to make them infinitely loopable. So the no jarring cuts or anything, it creates a seamless, dynamic experience as you scroll down this web page. And I think it works perfectly. Each animation loops pretty much perfectly. So that helps, I guess, keeping everything consistent on the page. but also creating a long, cohesive, animated document, essentially explaining in layman's terms what's actually going on here, what's the research, what's the actual technology behind how this works.
Let's just talk about the actual, like we was in HKA and that kind of stuff. These are corporate these are quite large companies, and having this level of creativity injected for an animation like this, I think looks incredible. Like the colors and the vibrancy and just the level of creativity. Could you just give me a bit of your insight into the, putting this creativity onto the page like this? It looks great.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing I wanted to really get out for this specific project was tap into the emerging technology side of things, make it look sort of increasingly futuristic, a little bit modern, but has that sort of aura of this is new, this is like brand sparkling new technology.
Yeah.
And I think with the aesthetics of it, adding the glows, the vibrant colors, the I think keeping it very clean, but also give some life to it. Again, making it glow makes it look like a tangible thing. It looks like it's got a bit of a personality to it, and it's got that atmosphere around it.
Look at it. I'm mesmerized. I'm absolutely mesmerized by it. It looks so cool. And I've not
Yeah, and
actually
I think
seen it up close
I think
before.
I think that works as well, because having the sort of tranquility that we kept from the original animation, from the promotional video, and keeping the same aesthetics that made that so good, and implementing it into, it's a more restricted animation. If you're doing it for web, you can't go crazy with your own ideas. You've got to keep in mind the exact reasoning and the environment this is going to be put in.
Such a balance of constraint versus pure creativity, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, keeping the black background, for example, but also bringing out the things that made the original promotional video good. So the lighting, the way everything moves, the dynamic aspect of it, and the glows. I think everything came together really well to sort of keep that tranquil calmness. Also, the mesmerizing, like you said,
It is. It's really, really cool. When I
it's
watch
easy
it,
to understand as well as like fun to watch.
I can see each fiber, and it just looks amazing. And it's such a simple asset as well, but it can have such a powerful effect. That's how I feel about it. It's just it's just one animation, but it can really set the scene. Okay. Did you want to talk about the head? I think that was a cool aspect, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
We started with a 2D model, I think, didn't we? And I think you decided that it could be better.
Yeah, so the original reference that we got for this, we had a 2D illustration, like a circle that represented the head, and the data was within that circle. And I originally played around with doing the same thing, keeping the circle there. At that point, the main challenge was actually recreating the head scan, the waves, and the way that appeared in After Effects, because we wanted to create from scratch. I think it would have looked a lot more janky, I guess, if we kept the original and overlaid the original video. I think actually doing all the motion by hand was a much better option, although it took more time. I think it paid off in the end with making keeping the mesmerizing aspect of it. And I think the first thing with the circle that they used in the original as the head, I was going to export it as that, really. But I think looking over it before exporting it, there was just something missing. I think there was so much sort of faux realism, the materials and the way that the graph looked contrasted with the head animation, and it just didn't look as polished. This is where I sort of dived into AI. I thought I could probably create a head model or find one online,
But
but
it'll
I'm
take a
sure,
while.
yeah, I'm sure there would be some way to do this, and I think I just thought, right, I'm gonna ask ChatGPT. Let's see if you can help me with this, and I inputted exactly what I wanted, the sort of angle that I wanted, and the colors that I gave to it, and the hex form to give it that yellow hue. And I mean, it came out after a few iterations of tweaking it. It came out perfectly. I mean, it came out like this, and it worked as soon as I put it into After Effects. I mean, it worked like instantly. I was like, right, that's what was missing.
Yeah, and I'm going to do that again.
Yeah,
Because you were mid-flow, weren't you? You didn't want to go and start a whole 3D project to create a head. So you
yeah. I mean,
acquire
that would have taken a long time to actually. Well, compared to the deadlines, I think you need to think about that beforehand. If we're doing a 3D model, so having that tool there to just quickly whip up. It's one static shot I needed. Didn't need to create a 3D model, and ChatGPT basically knocks it out of the park with it. I mean, it couldn't have done any better.
it's just the head model, isn't it? It's not or is it the color animation as well?
No, so everything, the 3D head model, it was a PNG image, and that was the only thing on this that I used.
Originally.
So the
Right.
actual head scan animations, the blue tones and the lines that you see appearing, that was all done by hand. That was like frame by frame. I traced over the reference video frame by frame, because that was something with artistic expression and the balance between that and actual research. Adding artistically pulsing lines and circles, just, I don't know, it didn't look right. I think there's nothing to be scared about with that. I think if you added circles, it would kind of lose its meaning. It didn't really look like a head scan. So I think keeping this variability and the natural dynamicness, I guess, of the actual head scan, I think was probably important on this one.
Looks brilliant. And we are we're still working with the brand now, aren't we? They're integrating these the animations into their website as we speak. And we're trying different formats. A couple of the formats we've tried is WebP and Lottie, which all have their own different benefits and features.
I think the deep sleep and the HKA stuff, there was some good conversations in there. I don't know what it was about the HKA stuff, but somehow I think I just had I think that was probably the most cohesively thought out thing that I've done, because I kind of had an idea straight off the bat for HKA, and it's like retrospect, you can like look back on it and think about the processes and what actually means, like now, like looking back.
Give me your assessment of the growth of what we've been doing. Obviously, you joined probably back in 2021, and what do you think? Just going through it, maybe just explain some of the progression that we've had.
I think it's been very interesting. I mean, I started off obviously working a few explainer videos. That was my start into this, and I think from there we've been working with individuals and personal brands, a few big industry like Network Rail. That was a fun project, creating a few motion assets for that.
It was.
But I think from there, last year was really when a few things started to fall into place. We had like some of the like IFS and HKA. Those were like two like really good jobs we had.
IFS.ai is a huge company. They're massive, and I don't know how they came to us. They approached us and they wanted some videos made.
Yeah, and that was a great like fun project. I did a bit of research into it as well. It was an interesting thing to work on, and obviously HK, and that's where sort of those things started to fall in place. I think after that we started getting into a bit more intricate stuff. I mean, Network Rail was a very fun project to work on, working with like sort of like motion assets for a training video, and I think it was quite interesting to sort of look into the industry like that. And then obviously we had 2024 was really when things started to fall into place. I think little pieces started to come together about where we could take this. And then we had IFS with an AI company, and then HKA as well. I mean, from there, coming into 2025, now we've got technology companies coming to us. We've got these innovators. We've got these industry giants coming to us.
Hey, they are. Yeah, we're a small video team, and these bigger companies have started to notice us. And for me, I think that's just really incredible that we've.
Yeah, and I mean, like seeing some of the stuff that these new people that are coming to us, these companies, seeing what they're doing as well, and
Yeah,
getting insights into it. I think that collaboration has just been so important to what we're doing. Like especially over the last few years, getting those slow, like the ball rolling, and now we've got really like we're coming into like our own on something. And I think it's incredibly exciting. I mean, we had 2024, and then I think we really got the ball rolling throughout the last few years, and then now we've got companies like Aquila Engineering. I mean, we've got technology innovators, and we've got even uh, like community-based smaller companies like Audio Programmer who are now reaching out into much broader, more technology-sided things. They're really like growing alongside what they're doing, and I think we're now really putting our mark on the industry in a way with these specific niche of technology based innovators and leaders.
no, it's been an incredible year, and I think I've also noticed that a lot of the clients that we're working with are system builders. They're building companies, they're building systems, products, platforms, and also they're building a community around it as well. So the latest work we did for the audio programmers has really given me a really brilliant insight into creating a technology product and also a community around it. I think that's been my latest takeaway from that.
Right, right, right.
So forecast the 2025. We're going into 2026 soon, aren't we?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
What would if you were going to draw something? You must be able to make some prediction of
Well,
what's
I
the.
think so. I think what we've got nowadays, what we've got this year, I think is working so well for us. I think expanding into other areas, I think we'd be doing ourselves a little bit of a injustice. Like, I think we've really nailed this emerging technology, these leaders in the new industries. I think focusing on that, expanding the type of content we do, but keeping this niche, I think, the same.
It's like a new wave of technology leaders building companies now.
Yeah, exactly. And it's exciting to see coming from a technology background, but also on a marketing or creative video based mindset. I think in both ways, like these things are very exciting for the future. And I think it would be a bit silly not to tap into that, not to really take the opportunity.
Looking at all of these companies that we've worked with, what do you give and what do you really like looking at all of these companies that we've worked with? What do you love to give and your contribution to these companies? What's special about that?
I think there's two things. I think firstly, it's nice to try and explain things, knowing that what you're creating is actually going out to people who genuinely might see this and actually take a look, maybe give that chance to whatever company it is or brand. So if it's say technology, they'll see this video and it explains it in a way that actually makes them go, oh, actually, you know what? Maybe I'll take a look at this. And also another thing is, I think actually bringing these brands to life. I mean, people see brands as big logo marks, and I think creating that little bit of personality, creating a character for the brand itself, I think is such a fun thing to do. And working on it with people or surprising them with this new approach or way of actually portraying this information, I think is just a very fun experience, and there's not very many other experiences like that really in the creative field. I think you've got a video just, I think, does something different. You can do so much with video.
Yeah, do you know what? I love the way you said surprising them with that. I don't know what you said, but surprising them with that approach or something. It's wicked. Yeah, that's cool. All right, well, thank you, Aaron. I think that was really cool, and I'm really excited for seeing the progression that we've made and where things are headed. So I think that was a brilliant year, and yeah, really excited to see what we get up to.
Yeah, no, it is interesting. I have loved like doing the audio programmer stuff and the deep sleep stuff. I think just creating the sort of the tones for those videos, I think was just actually like very fun and good experience as well. So
I feel like it's getting even more and more exciting. We're working on the ground with like the real teams, like either the CEOs or the marketing team who are actually building the products right now, the projects and the companies and the platforms. And they're building stuff right now, and we're working with them and in real time and giving them.
Yeah, I think the collaborative aspect of it, rather than sort of being a outsider, I've contracted you to do this, for example. It feels like we're actually part of the process of getting these companies, like especially Deep Sleep, this new startup, getting them off the ground and then seeing it all come to life. I think is just amazing.